Good morning. I hope you are doing well. In most of the videos that I always do about Uber, I insist on buying cheap cars and buying small cars. By cheap, I don't mean that you go and buy garbage. What I mean is that you buy the cheapest that you can find in the market. And I said in a previous video that the whole purpose of the Uber business is to deliver people from point A to point B. Forget about comfort, forget about the color of your car, forget about the leg space. People don't care about that. And Uber is clear on that because they don't pay an extra fee, or they don't charge the customer an extra fee for cars that are more comfortable than the others. As long as it is in chap category, the price is the same, whether it is an Alto, a Vitz, or a Paso. Because I always say that the profitability of your investment in Uber is determined by how much you spent while buying that car, because the money you get from the Uber business is not that much. So let us assume that you have decided that you don't want to buy these cheap cars. You don't want to go and buy a second-hand car. You don't want to buy an Alto. You want to go to buy a Paso or a Vitz that costs around 1.2 million Kenya shillings right now. If you walk into any yard and find a car that has relatively low mileage, that is in very perfect condition, that has only been used outside Kenya, you will buy it at around 1.2 maybe KDQ number plate. If that car you give it to a driver, and in this case I am working out on a situation whereby you as the car owner, you are not the driver. If you give it to a driver, he will be giving you around 34,000 per month, which is like 8,500 per week, depending on how you negotiate. But for me, I like referring to this figure because I find it fair for both you and the driver. I always say that whatever the driver gives you is not your net income. It is not what you should plan to spend from what you get. You should plan to set aside 8,000 per month and put it in a special account for taking care of that car. If you want that car to serve you for a long time and maintain it, make sure that you put on purpose a certain amount per month, which I estimate to be around 8,000 per month, so that you can have close to 100K per annum, so that you are able to pay for the insurance, you are able to do the spares, you are able to do the replacement of anything that fails, as well as do the normal servicing without going back to pick money from your salary or picking money from any other business that you do. By doing this, you ensure that the car is financed by itself. So if you put aside 8,000, it simply means that you only have 26,000 shillings to put aside or to spend, which if you calculate this on basis of 3 years, then you will have earned 930,000. And remember, this is after paying, taking care of your car, after paying for insurance and everything. So after 3 years, you can be guaranteed that your car is still in very, very perfect condition because you have money to take care of it. So after the 3 years, okay, you can decide to sell that car. You do what we call a resell. Okay, you resell that car at around 900,000. I believe this is possible. You can sell it back into the market at around 900,000, but let's say you sell it at 800K. A KDQ number plate 3 years down the line will be a very, very number plate still in the market. And given the fact that you have maintained your car very well using this money, then it will still be very, very attractive to any person wanting to buy that car from the second-hand market. So what can you do? If you sell it at 800,000 and it had given you already 930, it simply means that you will make a net of around 530 for that period of 3 years. I hope that amount of money makes sense to you. Otherwise, you can continue doing the normal Uber business until you get your money paid back. After 3 years, you will only have gotten 930. You need another 1 year for you to get to break even point if you had spent 1.2. Okay, so but if you resell it after the third year, it gives you a quicker break even point than waiting for another extra year, maybe a 4th year and a 5th year, for you to break even, and then you say that you are now starting to enjoy the net profit, because maybe at that point after that year, the level of wear and tear will also be significant, meaning that you might need to set aside more than 8,000 per month to continue maintaining that car. So what I always try to tell you guys is that think about money, okay? And money that stays in your bank or that stays in your pocket without coming out. Because you might think that all these exchanges of money in and out is quite a lot, but it means nothing if just money comes and leaves as soon as it gets into your pocket. So think about at the end of this particular time, how much money will be left inside my pocket. And that's why if I think about that, then I forget about this type of amounts when I am buying a car. Right now, if I'm buying a car to put into the market, I'm telling you, I start with a budget of 500K. And this is not for a dumped car or a car that looks like garbage. This is for a car that I will give myself time to look for a car. I will look for people who are selling those cars for emergency reasons. I will look for people maybe who are desperate to sell their cars. Or I look for a car that I can do makeshift and, refurbish it and bring it back to the market at a total cost of around 500,000. If I add anything on top of this, it is because the car is purely a very, very good deal. But thinking about such an amount to buy a car to put into the business, and then you carry someone and you are paid 200 shillings per trip, you will never be happy when doing that business. And that's why some drivers are angry, others are happy. Because there are those actually that I know who are able to buy their cars even at around 420K. Like I told you guys, I sold my Suzuki Alto, the KDE. I sold it at 460. So that guy is doing good business today. He's carrying people in and out of the city every day. And I know he's getting close to break even very soon because he's driving that car himself. He's the driver. Compare him with someone who went to buy that Vis at 1.2. Where will you ever compare those people in terms of how much profit they make? Okay, let us put money first and imagine how much is left into your pocket after all is said and done.